Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my afternoon tea time and a card. This is my weekly class that I hold on my Stampin' Ink Designs group on Facebook. So if you are watching this later on YouTube, make sure you look for Stampin' Ink Designs group on Facebook and join our group. So just a few announcements before I get started. I can see everyone coming on. We are into September. Today's September 1st. These are my free gifts for the month of September when placing orders through my online store. I've got the snowflakes, the wonderful Whimsy and Wonder designer paper, and the Blushing Bride frayed ribbon. And then this is my hostess code for the month. So make sure you put that in when you place your order, when you check out. So I am going to be doing a fancy fold today. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds for everyone to join me. Hello everyone. I can see you all hopping on. My camera seems to be a little crooked tonight. Okay, I'm going to get started. Tonight I'm using the Pretty Pumpkin stamp set. Look at the pretty images. I just love these two pumpkins. And then it comes with the detailed pumpkins dies, which is a set of 10. I'm going to be using this fancy one tonight, along with this one and this one. Let me set that up. And I'm also using, instead of using Halloween paper, I decided I'm going to use the patterned party paper. Now, this is a huge set of designer paper. There's 24 sheets. I'm going to quickly put them on for you to see. There's 2 of each sheet. So I'm just going to lay the patterns on there so you guys can get a quick glimpse. Now, one side is the colored patterns. The other side is black and white. And remember, with black and white, you can always color the paper with blending brushes, with your blends markers, sponging. I'm just going to keep adding here till we get through all of the patterns. This is a huge, huge paper pack. Now, this is a host set. You earn it for free with a qualifying order. Look at this one with the hearts. Isn't that pretty? I love the colors. Only a few more to show you. This is my favorite. I'm using that tonight. And here's the last one. So tonight I'm using this one with the stripes and then this one with the flowers. Even though I'm using pumpkins, you'll see how pretty this paper looks with my pumpkins. And one thing, I have so much of this paper that I did up 2 packages 6 by 6. I think there's 24 sheets in here. I can't remember. I didn't count them. I will draw 2 names after my video or tomorrow morning. And then, of course, I always draw a name for someone to win my card that I'm creating. So I'll have 3 drawings tomorrow. 1 for each of these designer paper packs and 1 for the card. And all you have to do is comment or share, and I'm going to pick from all the names. Okay, let me show you the card that I'm creating. This is a fancy fold. I thought it was so pretty on the front that it did not need a sentiment. Do you agree? I just love the way those pumpkins look. Look at the detailed one. And then I added the stamped one on the front. Now this is 2 pieces of cardstock and it opens this way. And I added another pumpkin on the inside. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Let me give you the supplies. Let me grab my ruler. And this is going to be my scoring measurements. So this is pumpkin pie 11 by 4 1/4. And we're going to score with these measurements. This is the piece in the back. You need 2 pieces. This is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then let me bring the card back in. We're going to layer the pumpkin image on another piece of pumpkin pie. And this measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Granny apple for die cutting, granny apple for stamping, pumpkin pie for die cutting. And let me give you the basic white measurements and then I'll go over the designer paper. So this is basic white, 3 1/4 by 4. And the second piece that measures 3 by 3. And then we've got the designer paper. This is 5 1/4 by 4. And then 2 pieces that measure 4 by 1 3/4. So 2 of the same pattern. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to score my cardstock piece. So let me bring in my scoring tool. I'm going to leave the measurements right here so you guys can see them. So we're going to score at 2 inches, 3 3/4, 7 1/4, and 9. Very easy. So 2, 3 3/4, 7 1/4, and 9. Now, we're going to fold this like a Z fold. You're going to fold ahead and back. So you're going to press with your bone folder. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Forward and back. Okay, so there's our first, whoops, I went a little crooked here. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay, so there's the card base, and then this one's going to be glued on the top of that. The first thing I'm going to glue down is the designer paper on the card base. So this one is flat. And then, let me bring the card back in. You can see here how I glued this portion in the center. So we're going to add glue. I'm going to add a lot of adhesive only because you have the movement of that opening back and forth. Okay, I'm going to stand up for a second so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, and that's going to go right in the center. So now we're ready to do the stamping and the die cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and do the stamping first so I can use the die cutting machine. Let me just bring all my pieces in. And for ink colors, I've got pumpkin pie and granny apple green. So I'm going to start with the granny apple green. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the pumpkin image. I just love the detail on this pumpkin. It's just full of leaves and branches. So pretty. So granny apple green ink on granny apple green cardstock. And I'm going to keep going with the granny apple green. So I'm going to bring both of these pieces in. The 3 by 3. I think that's 3 by 3. Is that what I said? I think it was. 3 by 3. You can see here that I knew I was going to put one of my pumpkins off to the left, so I added the greenery right at the top. I'm also going to have my blending pen ready. I'm going to stamp that right at the top and at the left. I'm going to use the ink lines just to add a little bit of color. I didn't even need to dip my brush. Let me bring that close so you guys can see. I added just a hint of color. And then I'm going to glue that to the pumpkin pie layer. So this is all ready to glue my pumpkins on once I cut them. Okay, so that's all ready. Now let's do the inside. And that's going to go this way, the long way vertical. Again, I added the little greenery right in the corner. And I'm going to color again one more time. I color with the ink lines quite often because I like the subtle color that it adds. So again, just a little bit of green. And I'm going to bring in the pumpkin pie with the sentiment. And we're going to stamp that right at the top. And it still leaves a little bit of room for writing. Okay, let's move all of this stuff over, the ink especially, so I don't end up making a mess. I'm going to bring my card base in so I can glue that to the inside. So lots of layers to add to this card. There's my inside. So now I'm just going to fold this closed and add my 2 pieces. And you can do this 2 ways. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think it depends on how I cut it. Mine's going to look like a V this time. I think this one I had it going the same direction. It depends on what pieces I cut it from. I must have used 2 different pieces. So I'm going to glue those in place, and then we're going to do a little bit of die cutting and glue everything else in place. Now these fit right on each flap. And then we can go ahead and glue this in place. Now remember that this needs to open on one end, so we're only going to add glue to 1/2 of this. I'm going to add quite a few strips. And this is going to go right in the center. And now we're ready to do the pumpkin. So let me bring my die cutting machine. I'm going to use my mini today. So the first one I'm going to do, and let me get some washi tape. I'm going to cut out the one that I stamped. Oops, I need to trim that a little bit. It's not going to fit through. Let me chop off a piece. Okay. Now we're in business. This is going to go right here. I'm going to run that through the machine. I love using my mini on my videos because it fits in the screen. You guys can see the whole thing. There's my pretty pumpkin. Now we're going to do 2 without stamping. They're just going to be die cut. This is Granny Apple Green. And let me see, let me get my little piercer so I can just push that through. Now what I love about this one, it has little bumps that it embosses at the same time. I'm hoping you can see that on the camera. One more to go. Now this is the heavily detailed one with pumpkin pie. Okay, so now I can put my machine away. I'm going to bring out my die brush so I can get all of these little pesky pieces out. See how easily they popped out with the brush? Just got one more here that I got to remove. Okay, now let's bring the card back in. And we're going to glue the detailed one in place first. So I'm going to use my liquid glue. And I'm just going to add over on all these dots. I'm just going to add some dots here and there. Very easy. This one's going to go right on the left. Then I'm going to bring in some dimensionals for the stamped pumpkin. Aren't those pumpkins cute? You guys seem to like them. I can see some hearts going by and some likes. Okay, that's going to be layered right over the first one. And the last one, we're going to glue on the inside. And that's going to go right here. And like I said, there's still a little bit of room there to put a message and sign your name. So I'm going to leave this one open, and I got one more thing. I can't not make a card without adding bling. So you'll notice on this one, I added some to those little circle dots on the pumpkin on the detail. So I'm going to bring in my champagne rhinestone jewels. I'm using the smallest size. And I'm just gonna add to some of those little circles that you see on the little branches. Just gonna add a bunch of them. Doesn't it make it look so elegant? I can get carried away too. Oh, there's a little piece there that didn't come out. Come on. I'm afraid to pull on it. I'm probably gonna rip it off. Okay, there we go. And that, I'm gonna do one more. I think this one even has more bling than the first one. Okay, there's my card for tonight. How quick was that? I would love to spend more time with you, but this is all I prepared for tonight. Now, next week, I want to show you something I'm going to be using on next week's project. I'm going to be using cinnamon sticks. So, you know, cinnamon sticks probably mean like Halloween or fall. So you'll have to stay tuned. It is a 3D project next week. So make sure you join me. And I am trying to do 7 p.m. Eastern time now, so more of you can join in. Now that I'm home alone. So thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I hope you have a good night, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.